And we're talking about the 80s and 90s video production and comparing that to today. Now, it's a long time between the two, but a lot of things are very similar. But the technology has changed a lot, and so has the distribution. Okay, so we're going to get into that today. The distribution is the streaming services. There's plenty of streaming services out there, and they're different genres. Cable networks, cable television, they're out there, and they've grown over the last 30 years into a multi-platform organization to where you have more opportunity now. So just to let you know that it is very important to find out what your category is going to be. If it's going to be on YouTube, you got to select a category that you'd like to be in. You know, whether it be a documentary, whether it be comedy, whether it be, whatever it might be, and stick with it. That way the people know what to expect when they get to your channel or when they just look at your video. So, a good thumbnail and title is very important. But if you don't have the content, none of the first stuff matters. Now, you always got to remember that. So the content is king, and I've said that before, but here we go. Find your genre, find your category, go from there. Now that you got that, you want to make sure that the equipment that you use to produce a lot of this stuff is basically going to be the one you're going to use consistently and you're comfortable with. Because once you get the equipment down and it looks good for you, and it's always going to be the go-to camera, sound, maybe lighting, then that's what you stay with. Now you can concentrate on the content, because the content means a lot. Now when it comes to the camera, you could use your phone. You could use a DSLR, the old 35 millimeter looking cameras that take video pictures. They are very good now too. They come a long way for that. And they still have the camcorders. Camcorders are a bit more, but the DSLRs are very cost effective. But it's the lens that's going to cost you more. You can always use the lens that comes with the camera. If it does come with a combo package, those lenses are made for that, meant to be on that matched on that camera. So it's going to look good, but it could be better because there are other things you might want. Long distance, so you want zoom. Telephoto, you just want a constant zoom. You might want a bigger iris. Aperture can open up a lot wider, so you can do more evening shots or late after or dark shots inside. So this is very important here. Save the footage. I know it sounds, oh, that's, of course, Jamie, I'll always save the footage. Well, make sure you do. Save the footage, no matter if it's HD, 4K, it could be 6 or 8K, whatever. Save it in the original format. Now, being as digital, it shouldn't make a whole lot of difference on that, but you save it in the original format. Just drag and drop. Go to your own storage. The cloud is there if you need it as a backup. I would always get a small little storage device, solid state. Even the disk drives are good. They're still good. So go to the storage units, add the little packs that are 1 terabyte. If you get a 4 terabyte, because you can afford it, and you go for a 4 terabyte, you put everything on that thing. Suppose something happens to your drive, then you lose all that footage. So you get 1 terabyte of footage, and you fill it up with about 2/3, maybe 3/4 of all the footage on that it can handle, and then go get another one. Or so you buy 2 or 3 of those. So if one drops, at least you have other footage to still work with and still use. So it's always important to save the footage of what you shoot, because it means a lot. Because later on in the future, you're always going to say, I wish I had that footage because I'm making another video that I can use that same footage, and I don't know where the other show is. I don't want to take it out from the other show because it might have some graphics on it, some music, and you just don't want to use that other stuff on it as well to bring back and use a piece of it. You ready for this? This is an example of content is king. Now, I'm going to explain a sample movie that was shot in the late 90s, and it was used to be like this little horror film, The Blair Witch Project. I don't like bringing it up too often because, yeah, the production value was very weak, but it was meant to be like somebody's footage that they shot with their home camera, and somebody else found it years later when those kids came missing, and there you go. There's a mystery in the making. So the crew that shot The Blair Witch Project had a low budget. It was, I think, under $75,000, in that range, maybe in the 60s. Now, after they put it all together, and it made the movie theaters from video, either VHS, some of it was VHS, I'm sure, some of it was high 8, you know, little 8 millimeter, I think even some was some digital stuff too. But a lot of analog and digital was made, mixed together, and made that movie that aired on theaters across the nation. It made over $240 million. And it cost, what, $65,000, $70,000 to make? The profit margin on that blew Hollywood to, and these were independents. They were nothing to do with Hollywood, although they may have done a few things in Hollywood and made their deals and everything else from that. But it wasn't the Hollywood producers. It wasn't like that. They were just guys and girls doing this video, and they wanted to do a little horror movie, and they did it, and they made over $240 million. Now, that's unheard of, although that it can happen again, and I'm sure it will. But they're few and far between like that. So again, don't strive for, I need to get a bunch of equipment and stuff, because this little thing here made, you know, out of VHS high 8s and maybe a couple of Betacam to throw in to make it look good too, you know. But the problem with that is that, you know, you see that you can make anything out of, you know, old crappy equipment and still make millions. So that's the initiative, and that's the motivation that most of us have, that if we just had the right content and at least some decent equipment, we could do well. Now, how you do well depends on how you distribute it, how do you get it marketed, how do you get it out there. Now, these people got it marketed correctly, they did it right, and no matter how it looked, you still want to see the guy get shot, or the guy fall off a tree, or the ghost that you'd never seen before, and all of a sudden he's up. Now, this was before special effects was really that high end, but that's what you think about. You're always in that mode of, okay, motivation, get me out there, I want to do this, I got an idea, let's do it with what you have, equipment that you have, and make it work. Okay, now, I got more coming up in the next several weeks that's going to be discussing more of the equipment and the talent that comes in with all this stuff too. Just like the Blair Witch, they used their own self. They weren't all that good of an actor, but they told the story well on camera. And if this works, I'm telling you the story well. So you know that I'm not a professional actor, and I can tell you a story and it'll work. But you may not want to see me in a movie, motion picture, but I appreciate it if you did. But anyway, I got more coming up too in the next week or so. We'll see you then.